It's 6 AM in the morning and we're at Tottenham Court Road, Elizabeth Line station. What does that mean? Ah yes, it's time for another trip. And with that, welcome to Carl's Travel Channel, where every journey costs less than £100. As usual, please sit back, buckle up and enjoy the ride. And always remember, the nearest exit may be behind you. Let's begin today's journey by catching this Elizabeth Line train out to Stratford.
This is an Elizabeth Line service to Shinfield via Stratford. The next station is Clarendon.
And right on cue, we've made it. I just needed to walk around the corner to the bus station. Here is the bus stop to catch the Airport Express A21 service to London Stansted Airport. Handy USB charging is provided at all seats. Again, with an on-time departure, here we go. Some time to take in the glorious sights of Stratford en route. This very good service runs once every half an hour, all day and night, and takes around 45 minutes end to end, unless it's during the rush hour. The average ticket price is £8 or £9 each way. Unlike National Express, I've noticed there are no announcements on board from the driver. Some people may prefer this, some people may not. It's your own preference. And soon we make it onto the motorway, picking up speed, heading out of London. As per the street sign, 25 miles to Stansted. And out into the countryside, the grass has already turned yellow at the end of summer. In what felt like no time at all, we approached Stansted Airport, with the control tower in the distance. An advert here for British Airways, who now operate weekend-only services from Stansted, using aircraft from London City Airport. The vast rectangular terminal building approaches. To be honest, I'm not a fan of its architecture. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And we arrive into Bay 8 at London Stansted Airport. Time for a huge, but expensive, breakfast at the Wetherspoons. It's then time to head to the gate, and there is the aircraft waiting. And so, here we go. some noisy children on board the flight. Luckily, I brought my headphones along with me.
€50 only instead of 60. Also, any adjustments we have: cigarettes on board, mobile phone, other arrangements and hedges. Numbers and buttons, we have also abadis tobacco, contribution and tobacco starting from €50 only. We have 1 liter of Jackson whiskey from Beijing for €20 and 1 liter of absolute vodka for €15 only. To be finished by 8 please don't not touch the bottom of the credit card. Thank you.
It was only until flying over the Netherlands that the clouds begin to clear, after listening to the long duty-free announcements. Here you can see the extent of the huge Oslo Dike, 32 kilometres in length, and opened in 1932. And with that, we begin the stormy and wet descent down into Copenhagen. I'll leave you to watch the landing with no commentary, just to enjoy the ride. If you wish to return to the commentary section, please move ahead to the 14 minutes mark. Ryanair park at the far end of the terminal, and it's a very long walk to exit the airport. And finally, we pull into our gate at the terminal. Once off the plane, I bought a train ticket to the city, 3 zones for 30 Danish kroner, or £3.40. So, here we go. And once on board the very ugly Cyclops-faced train, it's time to look around. You can see there's plugs under the seats. As per the ticket, you can see this is the 1 PM service into the city. One thing I did notice here on the railways in Copenhagen is a huge amount of graffiti. We make it into Copenhagen Hotbahnhof, but I will be staying on the train for another 2 stops. If you were exploring central Copenhagen, you would alight here. Now all of the other passengers got off, you can have a look around the carriage. The seats were spacious and comfortable. We had a long 10-minute wait here before the train set off again. And lots more graffiti is visible. After one intermediary stop, we reached our final destination, Oslo Station. It was really soaking wet here. I think all I can do is find a coffee and shelter from the rain. On my search for coffee, I came across the magnificent Frederiksberg, an 18th century marvel with the largest dome in Scandinavia. I found a coffee at €5 a cup. It's not cheap here. I then head towards the river and the magnificent Geffion Fountain, opened in 1908. Nearby are the moats and turrets of the castellets. At the river finally, Copenhagen has a rich maritime history. Some local residents here enjoying their day. If you know what they are, please let me know in the comments. One of the many river sightseeing boats heads off onto another voyage. Finally, I make it to one of Copenhagen's most famous landmarks, the Little Mermaid statue. It was donated by the founder of Carlsberg, Carl Jacobsen, again like the fountain in around 1908. From here, I continue to walk up through the marinas to my destination. Oh, I wonder if that's it in the distance over there. Continuing today's theme, I then found the Maritime Monument, opened in 1928. As the excitement built up, tonight's home finally came into view, the MS Crown Seaways. Approaching to her stern, I then headed through to the DFDS terminal to check in. Inside, check-in was an easy and uncomplicated process on the machines. Within no time at all, I was on board and up on deck. However, I was certainly in for a treat with the weather. It's good to see the lifeboats and the life-saving equipment here. I discovered the ship I had seen earlier was actually TUI's Mein Schiff. I headed back downstairs out of the weather and enjoyed my first Danish in Denmark. I then promptly went back up on deck for departure at 4:30 PM, and I certainly was not expecting this. It felt as though the entire deck had become a swimming pool. I could only walk in certain areas as my feet were submerged underwater. A small cover for smokers was available. Here is the outside bar, and credit to DFDS, it was still open. The ship left the port on time, and the rain was even timelier. Sadly, the sky bar could not be enjoyed today.
Alarm til det altid venter af medvægt over håndtaget. Her vil vi fortalt, hvordan den enkelte skal forholde sig. Samlingsstationerne vil takker til din opmærksomhed. Ladies and gentlemen, to ensure you have a safe and pleasant journey, please listen to the following safety information. In an emergency, you will hear an alarm throughout the system. This alarm will assist in such short-term.
The ship begins to head north towards Norway, in the channel between Denmark and Sweden. Let's get back in the dry and continue to explore the ship. An overview of the deck plans. It was then time to enter my cabin, which made for a very comfortable night's sleep. I could leave my bag here for the voyage. There was a large-sized shower and wash basin, and this handy information brochure on the ship's amenities. Wi-Fi was not cheap, however, as listed here, and is the only way to get data on board. There are many bars and restaurants on the ship to choose from, including here walking through the Little Italy restaurant. It's always interesting to see other ship traffic following us. As you can see, I enjoyed spending time up on deck in the wild Scandinavian weather. The outside deck space on this ship was very good, with every angle available except from the bow and on multiple different levels. This is the coastline of Sweden on the right hand side of the ship as we head north. Finally, a small break in the rain, which allowed me to venture to the far stern. However, not many other people were as mad as me to be out here. And the weather finally calms. A really fantastic sunset looking out toward the North Sea. It was then time for a snack, and I had this sandwich and cookie from the cafe. I then headed to the Columbus Club for some beers and to sample the ship's entertainment. Heineken was the cheapest beer on tap, which worked out in UK money around £6.23 per pint, which, considering this is Scandinavia, is not really too bad. Working in entertainment, I did not expect too much from the ship's band. However, I was pleasantly surprised, and the passengers' band on board were really very good. Sadly, I've had to mute this entire section so you cannot hear them due to YouTube music playback rules. The bar stayed open until midnight every night on the ship, and it was always fairly busy, but there were certainly seats available. If you wish to stay up all night, there was a nightclub downstairs after this closed. You could choose to be served at your seat or just pop to the bar like I did. Before retiring to my cabin, I decided to brace myself for a midnight stroll up on deck. I was lucky enough to spot in the distance these lights, which were the Stena Skandinavica, heading from Gothenburg to Kiel in Germany. It was a really great feeling walking around here at midnight with the cold air and not really anyone else about, as a passenger then just suddenly appears from nowhere. It was ferocious up here. I then returned back down to the lower decks and retired to my cabin for the night, and I really had a great night's sleep. Good morning from the Oslo fjord, and wow, what an incredible change in the weather from yesterday. I will let you enjoy the views in silence for the next couple of minutes before I go downstairs for my breakfast. was then breakfast time from the all-you-can-eat buffet, which cost approximately £17.50 in UK money. There was plenty to choose from, however I would not say the quality was excellent, and certainly not the milk and the coffee. However, how many places can you eat breakfast with a view like this going past? It was then time to complete the journey up the Oslo Fjord and walk off the breakfast on deck. Behind us, the Colour Line ship, the Colour Fantasy, was following us up the fjord on its voyage from Kiel to Oslo. We passed this fascinating island restaurant and lighthouse, reachable only by boat. And some classic tall ships pass us by. I will now let you enjoy the approach into Oslo Harbour in silence, and the commentary will begin again at the 36 minutes mark. In the distance, you can see the dock of the Colour Fantasy. However, this is a much further distance from central Oslo and probably not ideal for walking. The DFDS terminal, however, is right in the heart of the city centre. One final look at the ship's funnel before saying goodbye to her, for now. The ship was built in 1994 and weighs 35,498 tonnes. She was originally called the Crown of Scandinavia until Scandinavian Seaways renamed itself to DFDS. And here we are, berthing at the DFDS terminal in Oslo. Step-free gangways are provided. You're probably wondering how much this cruise cost. Well, it was a real bargain at £79, including a cabin for 2 nights and the ship tickets. It's time to head downstairs and excited to explore the sights of Oslo.
As these need to be shown on embarkation. Please note that there will be border control in the terminal. So please have your passport or ID ready when...
And with that, we're off the ship. And entry formalities, or the lack of them, were very easy. A nice view admiring my hotel for the night, the Crown Seaways. Within only 10 to 15 minutes, I had walked into central Oslo and my first glimpse at its iconic opera house. Our ship is still visible, really not very far away. I passed by this interesting building on the way, which apparently is the stock exchange. It's then time to do what you have to do when you come to Oslo and climb up the roof of the opera house. It was, however, fairly dangerous up here and a lack of health and safety notices. I saw at least 2 or 3 tourists fall flat over on some of these ledges. The 360-degree view, however, from the top is incredible and well worth the journey. I then walked over to the nearby Oslo Central Station. I always seem to find obscure Netflix sets on my trips. Here is a strange one. If you know what this is, please let me know in the comments below. After a short walk through the shopping centre, I came across Oslo Cathedral, which luckily, at this time, was ringing its bells. After escaping the noise of the bells, time to enjoy some local architecture. I then head up the hill to the Royal Palace and its stunning facade, built in the 19th century. This certainly reminds me of a similar house in London. I'll let you guess which one. At the front is the statue of King Charles John, its founder. And a look back down the hill towards Oslo Centre. I then began to head back down the other side of the hill, passing through what appeared to be a business district. I arrived at where I will finish this video, at the Oslo Marina, which his name is on the screen, as I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Boats depart from here to many destinations all over the Oslo fjord and harbour. There goes one just now. I love the name of this boat. One of the departure boards, showing where many of the boats leave from here go to. Despite being windy, the weather was glorious, and I stopped for this iced coffee in the sunshine. The building here is the imposing Oslo City Hall, built between the 1930s and 50s. It's currently undergoing renovation. With the warm sunshine beating down, it really felt more like the Mediterranean than Norway. And with that, I hope you've enjoyed part 1 of my trip to Norway. And thank you for watching Carl's Travel Channel. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in part 2 very soon.